Welcome, Bills fans, to another exciting edition of Bills Talk. A pretty big day for Buffalo Bills fans. New head coach signing, and Doug Marrone, old Syracuse Orange head coach. So let's start this off really quickly, Brandon. You can start talking right now, right off the bat.
Well, Doug Marrone's a coach who turned around a pretty pitiful Syracuse Orange team, pretty much a joke, just like the Bills are. Their reputation around the league, and he basically turned it around. You say, oh, 25 and 25, I want something better than that. But when you look at what Syracuse was and how he turned them around, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, let me just inform these people. 3 years before he was head coach of Syracuse, 4-8, 1-6 in the Big East, last in the conference. 2007, they were 2-10, 1-6 in the Big East, last in the conference. The year before him, they were 3-9, 1-6 in the Big East, last in the conference. And 2 out of his 4 years, it was basically kind of the same thing, but the other 2 years, he led them to a Pinstripe Bowl and a victory in them. So if you look past in Syracuse football, they were just a team that would only get 2 wins every year. But I think the least amount of wins he got in a season was 4 wins, and he led them to two victories in bowl games. So I mean, sure, you can say 25 and 25 isn't good, but I mean, when you're leading this team with almost no one on your team, I mean, I'll take those 2 bowl wins, and I like his play calling in them too. I like how he runs his offense.
And he beat Louisville. So I mean, he coached Syracuse beat Louisville. Louisville pounded Florida. I forgot what bowl it was, but he runs like a fast-paced offense.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what the Bills want.
Mm-hmm.
So I just really don't know the defensive side of him.
It seems like what I've heard, he's kind of like a smaller Chip Kelly in a way. He runs the same offense, that quick offense, and the non-conservative offense, So, but what I've heard about him, it doesn't sound like what the Bills have used to done with head coaches in the past signing. I mean, it doesn't sound like a bad signing to me. I just don't know much about him to the point where I can say, I think he's gonna be good. I think I like the pick, but I think right now I'm at the stance where I'm like, I'm good with it. I'm stable with it, with the signing.
And there's a lot of high praise. Drew Brees high praised him, and so did Sean Payton. He was the offensive coordinator before going to Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
He was the offensive coordinator of New Orleans. Obviously, Sean Payton had a lot to do with the offense, but he was the one calling the play. So, but the problem is the Bills don't have Drew Brees.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big point.
Now I have a question. Would you since they're getting him now, would you be surprised if they got Nassib as quarterback in the draft? Maybe like second round, or maybe trade up for him?
Nab?
No,
I wouldn't be.
Nassib.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be surprised. I've seen him play. I watched the Pinstripe Bowl. He doesn't look bad. He has those NFL ready throws, and he doesn't make bad decisions.
And honestly, that's what Miami did with Tannehill, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Mike Sherman is the offensive coordinator for Miami, and Mike Sherman and Tannehill were both with Texas A&M.
hopefully if that happens, we're just talking about something that's far away. But I mean, I think that'd be cool for some chemistry there. But yeah, if you watch videos of him, he looks like a coach that's into the game. When something good happens, he's freaking out, he's happy, he's hugging all of his players. So I think that's gonna be cool to actually get some emotion as a head coach here.
Yeah, and that's Russ Brandon talked about building a legacy. Who knows what that eventually will bring, but I think they're starting off in a right place because Russ Brandon is fairly young. So is Doug Whaley. Nix is obviously 73 years old, but this guy's Marrone is 48 years old. I mean, it's like Gailey when he was like in his 60s, or Duran and he was near his 60s. He's a younger coach.
And now with him leading the team. I think he's gonna be that guy who's gonna really use Spiller in this offense, and I think, especially in this type of league, and Spiller, you need to do that, and I'm kind of excited of how he's gonna do this. He's gonna be calling the plays, I presume.
Well, I don't, that was a big question on the radio this morning that I heard. Will he call the plays? Will it be like Gailey? I have no idea. I mean, I think he has. I think he has. I don't know if he was the play caller at Syracuse. I would have to look that up. But either way, that they have to have some kind of different system than there is in the years past with the offense to make it work.
And I heard he's just real big on statistics with his play calling. So, I think that's really important because especially with Gailey, you could in situations, he would after the game he would just be like, they would ask him why didn't you kick a field goal in that situation, and he said, 50-yard field goals are very rare, blah blah blah. It's not what I do. I don't go for it on fourth down in that situation, and it's just kind of like this guy who's just scared about everything, who's living football in the past. He's almost as if football is not evolving, but it is, and you can even tell with him with using Spiller. He's not using Spiller that much. He's just very, I don't know, conservative with everything he did.
Don't forget he was an old school. He's an old school coach. Buddy Nix is an old school GM. So you wonder how much did Doug Whaley have in effect of making that decision of bringing him in. Yeah, we all know Nix is the GM, but once Nix is done, Whaley most likely will be the new GM.
So I really like where this is heading right now. Sure, I mean there's still so much more to do with this offseason, so right now we can't officially say it's heading in the right direction, but I feel like even just with this signing in general, I feel like hopefully what they can do with the draft and free agency, I think we can start seeing a Buffalo Bills team that's exciting to watch, and hopefully can get a lot more finishes and wins on the board.
We'll see. Who he brings in as a staff. Everyone says, oh, they just got another bum. We what has he done that makes him a bum?
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing. He was the offensive coordinator. He came into Syracuse and rebuilt them. So he's not like a Jerome where, he belongs as a secondary coach, or Gailey, barely an offensive coordinator, or Greg Williams, who is supposed to be a true defensive coordinator, or even Mike Mularkey, seen him in Jacksonville previous to that. Mularkey's a good offensive play caller. We know what Marrone can do, just don't know from the defensive side of it.
It's really, like you said, it's just who we can get around him to basically for those coordinator positions. It's like we said last episode, all of this is like ifs and ifs right now. You can't really tell what's going to happen, but I mean, I can't say I'm disappointed of what they've been doing.
To be honest, I really thought it was going to be Wilson because not just because he was the first one interviewed, because them two really both sides really agreed on a lot of stuff. I thought they were going to have a second interview. I really thought it was going to be Ken Wisenhunt. My opinion, I wanted Lovie Smith, but I'm really not complaining about this hire.
Yeah, when they set up, when Chip Kelly and the Browns talks were going really good, and they were supposedly expected to sign him, not anymore. It seems like, but I would have been, I would have gone with Lovie Smith, but and then I heard about Marrone, and then hearing about Marrone as being like, that aggressive head coach.
What I've heard is kind of like the Tom Coughlin kind of coach, which is great, obviously.
Yeah. So, but yeah, new head coach for Buffalo. Not really much else to talk about. Do you want to end the episode here, Brandon?
Yeah, we're good for now.
All right. So, any last words about this?
No. I mean, just many people disagree, about the hire. They think it's going the cheap way, but like, I think it's what Russ Brandon said. Time to build a legacy. But again, like you said, a lot of ifs, and we'll see. Everyone, take care, and you'll hear from us soon.
All right, so there we go. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment. If watching this on Facebook, and you have our page, leave your response to what we talked about. And that's it for Bills Talk. Go Bills, and see you later, Bills fans.